Welcome back. Well, with us right now from Harvard Eye Associates is Dr. Roger Ohanessian. Good to see you, sir.
Nice to see you too.
Always nice to have you on. And today what we're going to talk about is a passion of yours that you have been part of for what, over 25 years?
Yeah.
So tell us about that. It's an Armenian project.
Yes, it is.
Physicians go over and help out folks in that area of the world, right?
Yes. It started in 1992. I had been in the office and was just leaving when I heard the fax machine go off, and went over to find that there was a request. There was an urgent request from the Minister of Health of the country of Armenia. Mm-hmm. He had written to all of the persons who belonged to the Armenian Medical Society, and in it he was asking for help. He said that the country was at war and with the neighboring Azerbaijan, and that they needed help. They needed help from physicians. They needed orthopedic surgeons, ear, nose, and throat, ophthalmologists, neurosurgeons, etc., because of some of the war effort that had gone on at that time.
Right.
The doctors themselves were being overwhelmed by the number of patients that they had, not only the regular patients that you would get from a country of 3 million, but also from the war.
Right, exactly.
And my wife and son had already gone to England as part of a trip that we had planned. And so I called her up and asked her if she would mind if I went instead to Armenia. So she said, go ahead, I envy you being able to do something to be helpful. So I went over, not knowing really where the country was. I'd never been to the country before. I don't speak the language. I'm second generation Armenian, but never really learned. But when I went over there, I found really the country was in chaos. There were beds in the corridors. There were injured people all over the place, and there were people who had injuries that were devastating,
right,
that required a lot of treatment. I found that the people, you can see in this image, that they used sheets, bed sheets, and gauze for sterile gowns, exactly, and were operating. You can see operating without gloves on in this case, and there was an awful lot of distress that was ongoing. And a lot of children that were ill, injured. We found that that there had been a lot of landmines placed in playgrounds and in schoolyards, and that was so that they would, if you injure a child, it takes more people to take care of a child than it does if you injure an adult. And the whole plan was to depopulate the amount of people who would be able to fight.
Wow.
So it was a difficult time, and I on the first trip I went on, I was there for about a month, and then returned home and promised that I would come back. And I've been going back now twice a year, once or twice a year for 50 times or 25 years.
That's amazing. Let me ask you, when you first went over there and you didn't know much about it, were you worried that you were going into an unknown war zone that you knew very little about? Worried for your own safety?
You know, it's funny is that I didn't. I probably should have, but that was not. I was going into the capital. The war zone was a distance away.
Okay.
And I didn't have any concept of what we were going to do. This image is now far in advance. This is now 10 years after the Eye Project first started. We were able to take and bring a number of doctors from America over with us. So on each trip I would go, I would bring with me multiple doctors, multiple ophthalmologists, many academic ophthalmologists, and we would teach. But after a little while, found that teaching alone wasn't enough. We needed to be able to bring their doctors over to America. So we started a program and sponsored each one of their doctors. This is Armin Vardanian, a specialist in retina, glaucoma, cornea, and they came over to America and stayed for a year. We supported them for a year, and their families, and then had them go back, starting their own clinics in Armenia, and promised them that we would get all the equipment that they needed, and that's
Right.
really worked out very well.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing.
And now, what you just saw in that last photograph was there was children who had the disease of retinopathy of prematurity. We've advanced to that stage where we're getting even this disease that would affect about 600 kids a year, would make them blind in both eyes. But at this point in time, we've made it so that they don't go blind.
Yeah.
From 650, we're down to 15, and even those we treat with surgery.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's really been amazing a trip. Our next, we've got one new project. The thing that I'm really very excited about is the fact that we've got a project now of for diabetics. There's 3 million people in the country. Roughly 300,000 of them are diabetics, 10%, and the disease of retinopathy of prematurity is another. Probably about 5,000 of them to 8,000 have diabetic retinopathy, a disease that will surely cause them to go blind in time. So if you can catch it early, you can go ahead and treat it. It's the major cause of blindness throughout the world, one of the major causes.
And that's something that you can detect. It affects them when they're kids? Or it can come on any time?
It can come on any time, and what you need to do is be able to spot it when it comes on. Our effort is to go ahead and take photographs of the retina of every single diabetic in the country. And once we've done that, be able to analyze it. There's software now that can analyze a pattern recognition. So when we see it, we will go ahead, call them in, and treat them with either laser or surgery. And if we can do that, then it is that we can prevent these people from losing vision and going blind. And this is the first country that I've ever known where we're trying to do every single diabetic in the country. So it's a very big effort, and it's gotten a lot of attention from the
that's amazing.
World Diabetic Association.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned the software, because just the other day I was some tech broadcast I was listening to, and I don't know exactly how they got to the subject, but they were talking about the medical industry, and how certain types of software and projects that even Google are working on can detect things easier than a human can. And they did talk about, you know, when it comes to eye care, they talked about a few other things. So it's quite interesting. It's interesting.
It's fantastic. You take a photograph of the back of the eye, and the instrument then it will kick out those that have got diabetic retinopathy, because it can spot it, because it's a different pattern than what you ordinarily would see. It's very, very exciting.
That's amazing.
So right at this crucial time, this is a great time to get involved in that and to do it on the basis of the whole country. That's 300,000 photographs that we're going to have to take every single year.
That's amazing.
That would overwhelm anyone or any department of just looking at photographs all the time. But here, the software does it, and it does it even more accurately. So it's very exciting.
That's amazing.
So that's our next
So obviously
effort.
this project is still something after 25 years you are a big part of.
That truck that you saw is a mobile eye hospital. And even though we had the capital taken care of well, we developed this so it would go around the country and perform surgeries in the much more rural areas. Now we've got regional eye centers that we've just built. The Eye Care Project has just built.
Wow,
so, very
that's
exciting.
amazing.
Very exciting.
That's
stuff.
fantastic.
So,
good for you. And obviously, your practice alone you've built up over the years, but and as great as that is, I can tell this is much closer to your
Many
heart.
of the doctors that are in our practice have come over to Armenia with us. John Hovanessian has been a terrific benefit to our cornea department over there. So, very exciting.
That's fantastic.
Plus, we've got about another 150 other academic ophthalmologists that have come over, and they don't just come once. They come time after time after time. So it's very exciting.
That's fantastic. Always good to see you.
Nice to see you
Thank you
too.
very
All
much.
right. Thanks, Ken.
I think your project, your ongoing project, I'd love to hear more about it next
Sure.
time you're on, and the progress of it. And you know, talking about how technology and the software in many industries, particularly in the medical industry now, can, as you said, can just read these scans and all so much quicker and more accurate.
Sure.
We're not taking away from what humans and
No.
doctors can do. It's just a helpful tool where now you can get to so many more people in a shorter amount of time.
Sure. And we even have telemedicine. We have telemedicine that is so fantastic. Doctors in Armenia are operating on babies, newborn babies. They're operating on them with, I mean, the eye is the size of your small fingernail.
Yeah.
And they're operating on them, putting needles in the eyes and so forth. The information is transmitted from the television camera in the microscope all the way over to America.
Yeah.
In real time. And so that, and the doctor in America, Dr. Tom Lee, who's been fantastic training us in the doctors over there, he's watching on his laptop in his office, he's watching the surgery that's taking place simultaneously 12 hours earlier in Armenia.
Yeah.
So it's 10 o'clock in their time, it's 10 o'clock his time, and he's watching it and is instructing. He's the assistant surgeon in the surgery in Armenia.
That's
and
amazing.
we also have telemedicine. We're giving courses in Armenia, nurses courses, anesthesiology courses, to the doctors and the nurses in Armenia on a variety of different subjects. So they're becoming really well trained. They're actually getting patients from other countries to come over to Armenia and have their surgery there.
That's
very
amazing.
exciting.
Yeah, very good.
Exciting.
Good
So,
to you,
all right,
and
thanks.
all the other doctors at Harvard Eye, and all the people that have helped you over the years in that project.
Thank you.
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
We'll be right back.